What's up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph Brocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Andy.
There we go.
And Brograph is a supplement to our site, brograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other MoGraph stuff. And on this podcast, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. And you can email us your questions or topic ideas to brograph@brograph.com. We love to get those. It doesn't matter if they are noob or advanced. We love talking about everything. So make sure you shoot us an email, especially if we've never heard from you before.
Yeah. This week, we've got our good friend, Mr. Andy Needham. All the way from gracing us all the way from
the
jolly UK.
Yes, indeed.
So thanks for being on the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
We're gonna talk some external GPU stuff. Oh, and I gotta say, congratulations to us because it's big episode 100.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah. So
we're not doing anything like super special
No.
for 100 like we thought because we've been pretty slammed, but
yeah, life got in the way.
a little bit. But we will be doing our 2-year future episode.
Our annual look into the future that will probably
take
5 hours
cheesy,
to record because we're just laughing the whole time.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll have like a better script this year. We'll spend some time on it.
Yeah, that's what
Make
you
the
said
jokes
about
a little
episode
better.
100.
Yeah. Hey, well, we did it last year. I had a pretty good script for my stuff. I don't know about you.
Nah, I just wing it. You know me. I wing everything.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. So, we finished up DFWC4D this week.
Yeah.
Went well. We had Matthias and Brian out there.
The gas crisis kind of screwed things up.
Yeah, it sucks, man. It was number one was Labor Day weekend.
Yeah. But I don't think that was really such a big deal. Like, I had people who were calling me and being like, "Oh, I'm too scared to come out. I don't think there's going to be any gas." You know?
Yeah. So if you're not from this area, here's what happened: is the hurricane hit Houston. We're very far away from there, but the supply chain from Houston to up here was not necessarily like stifled. It was just that there wasn't enough gas in that area, and it was going to take longer to get here, which would have been fine, except everybody on Facebook had a freaking heart attack and told each other that we were out of gas. And so everybody started I mean, it's like a bank run. Everybody flooded the gas stations. They didn't have any less gas than they usually have.
Yeah.
It's just that it was a panic.
Yep.
And so then it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. So when we got to DFWC4D, we had more signups than we've ever had.
Yeah.
But we had pretty not so incredible turnout compared to last time when it was standing room only. And that was disappointing because we had some great guests and, we had everything set up and we spent a lot of time on it and people just didn't show up because they thought that the world was coming to an end, I guess.
Right.
I mean, I found gas today with absolutely no problem. But
I know,
people are still
and it's
on
so
Facebook
stupid.
saying they can't find any.
It's like the very next day, there was no one lined up at the pump. I was like, oh, yeah. How'd that gas crisis work out for you?
No, there's still hundreds and hundreds of stations here in Dallas that don't have gas because everybody rushed them. But, if you just are smart about it and just download an app or something, you're like, oh, this place has plenty of gas and there's no line. Okay.
It's dumb.
Yeah. So that was unfortunate. We're going to try and plan a little bit more next time, a little more ahead of time, because we really had to make that one happen really fast this time around.
But
and,
big shout out to all the people.
Weekend.
Big shout out to all the people who came so far. Liam, Twitter 531 came all the way from Maryland. We had a gentleman come all the way from Oklahoma City. We had a ton of people come up from Austin. It was just way, way cool that you guys would spend your time and money and resources, and all your gas coming down to Dallas, to come hang out with us. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah. So Matt and I have finished our crazy month.
Yeah, I know. Dude,
Thank goodness we're a little bit free now.
day after DFW C40, I took my kid to daycare in the morning, and then I went back to sleep, and I didn't wake up till 3 in the afternoon.
Nice.
And Matt sent me a text and he's like, "Hey, are you awake?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's 3 in the afternoon." It's like, "Oh, I just got up."
I don't know. I
man.
figured you'd do the same thing.
No, man. I was up and at 'em doing a little, spending some time with my daughter. We've been printing out My Little Ponies in the 3D printer and painting them with acrylics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. Yeah.
All right.
Some of them turn out better than others. Like some of them are look a little deformed. I had little printer problems, but
Instead
she's
of
learning how to
getting an
paint
Apple
with
Jack,
acrylics
you're
and-
getting a Crapple Jack. Right?
Yeah, well, we definitely, that's the first one we did is Applejack.
Yeah.
Applejack turned out pretty good.
I mean, I don't know
we were-
any of these ponies. I ain't no
and we were
brony.
painting them. She was like, she was painting it and stuff and having trouble. And I'm like, "Oh, no, that's okay. Daddy's going to touch it up." Air quotes. And then I sit there for like another hour, like completely repainting the whole thing and like, spending a whole bunch of time on My Little Pony. I'm like, what am I doing?
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
So, but we're going to talk a little bit now about R19 because we've been playing with it a little bit. And Andy, you've been prepping some tutorials. Is that right?
Yeah, been I for those that don't know, I do training. I make courses for lynda.com and LinkedIn Learning. It's all the same company, really. And yeah, the R19 Essential Training is coming out very soon. Hopefully very soon. It's currently being edited by the fine folks over there, and they do an awesome job making me sound good. So there'll be a couple of new courses coming out for the just if you're a complete beginner to C4D, there'll be one just to get you started going through a course like going through a motion graphics project, and then all the new features as well, the ones that are sort of kind of stuck out to me. I did a course on that, and then there's a really cool motion graphics course as well, which has plenty of, it's not like a project course, we're not going through it, but it's a lot of techniques, and hopefully there's something that the beginner can kind of take on, and even actually intermediate and advanced intermediate people I'd say would take on and sort of maybe get some workflow tips and some other things out of it, but yeah, it's pretty broad, and they cover a lot of things, so that excuse me, if you're fairly new to C4D, you'll be pretty dangerous once you've finished. So yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite right now? What is your favorite new feature of R19?
Oh, I just like what they've continued to do with the Verona fracture. I love that, actually. And I mean, even you could do it beforehand, but I do like the fact that you don't need a point source in the fracture object, Verona fracture, to make it work with, to make it sort of still break up things. So you can do some really cool stuff with logos and type and stuff just by dropping it in and deleting the point source, and then using the sorting function as well. Which you can then affect the say you want the clones to be pushed out on the x-axis only or whatever. You can do that with sorting. So yeah, it's worth checking that out. And I think the viewport improvements are really cool as well. It's nice to see depth of field in there, and especially if you start getting in some X particles and getting old depth of field on, it looks pretty sweet. So so yeah, there's plenty of decent features in this update, I think. So yeah, have you guys have been playing around with it? So
yeah, I downloaded it yesterday, I think, and because we only got our code like yesterday or something like that. No, sorry, it was 2 nights ago. I couldn't sleep because I slept until 3:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
so I couldn't
up.
get to bed at a normal time. So I was up really late, and I downloaded it and I installed it. I installed it on my laptop first just to like play around, and I was doing some tests like with global illumination, just standard renderer, global illumination, and pro renderer, because I wanted to see like the speed tests, and ProRender was pretty slow, which I don't know if I'm doing it all correctly, so I'm not going to say 100%, but, I was running on a GTX 1060, and it was running about 2 minutes a frame at about, I don't know, I was working it to where, first I initially worked it to where it was being based on the noise, so like it would stop at like, 0.1% noise. But then I changed it to iterations once it got kind of clean. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I changed it to like 250 iterations, but it was still taking like 2 minutes a frame versus global illumination. It only took like maybe 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're right. Okay, so what you're doing a test with physical as well, right? Or
I wasn't testing it with physical, just like standard render.
Oh, okay.
With
Right.
global illumination and stuff, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I think for those who have never it now I will say ProRender produced a prettier picture than just the standard global illumination, but I don't know. You take quite a bit of a speed bump doing it. Of course, the blurry reflections were really nice. Like being able to see those live. I think someone who's never used a GPU renderer before will be really impressed with it. But,
I think you're right. That's probably a fair point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you're used to what you guys use and you're expecting a bit more speed and stuff like that, then yeah, it's probably not ready for that kind of stuff. And if you're rendering stills and you've got the time, then yeah, it's going to be good. But
for sure,
it's first version, right? So yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like it's got some room for improvement and stuff, but there's so many other features in R19 that I think are really exciting.
Worth mentioning the level of detail is pretty good in conjunction with the poly reduction as well. That's and also the way that you can clip from the camera view using LOD as well. That's nice. If you've got loads and loads of clones in your scene, you just make the LOD a child of the cloner, then your clones inside the LOD, and then in the options tab you can just click on camera clip, and there you go. Look in your top view and you'll see that everything's outside of the camera view. It's
very cool.
So, yeah, and so that can speed up your scenes quite a bit. But I have found the R19 handles like large amounts of clones a lot better than R18 did. So it's
that's good.
Yeah.
I really like the LOD stuff big time. I think like some of these major projects that I've worked on in the last couple of years would have been like it would have been such an advantage to have something like this. What I was noticing is like there is a checkbox so that you can turn on, render everything perfect in your render. I think that's honestly, in my opinion, I feel like that's something that should be on by default. I kind of feel like the LOD stuff, for someone, I think I want to say, maybe I'm not speaking for everybody, but I feel like the average artist would only be initially using the LOD stuff for their viewport, for the advantage of having a faster viewport, not necessarily that you want to use this LOD stuff in your actual render. So having the option to render normal, I guess, in your actual render, it feels to me that should be a default check, but it's not. So keep that in mind if you're using LOD.
Yeah, good tip.
The other thing about it as well is it kind of shows where your camera is. Like if you're basing it on camera and how far away something is from the camera, there's that cool little graph that's on there that shows where your camera is in relation to where your different levels are, because you set the levels. And to me, I feel like there should be some sort of transitional element rather than just popping on and off. Have you seen, is there a way to make it like fade or?
Is there like some sort of like fall off at all?
Not sure if there's a fall off. There is.
Kind of like a display tag, where a display tag you can actually set your visibility. Something like that where you could say, take 10 frames to transition so they don't just like pop on, if you're using this in a render scenario.
Yeah. I'm just going to check because I'm sure there's something like that. But I
haven't had a lot of time to play with it either. That's
Yeah,
why.
same here.
I think something is crashing, so I'm just going to leave it.
I did find I had quite a few crashes when I was playing with ProRender. And what was weird was, so I installed it on my laptop initially, and then went through the whole registration stuff, and then we got our actual registration serial numbers and stuff. So I was installing it on my PC right before the podcast because I just wanted to play around with it, and I kept using the actual serial, the final serial that they gave us, and it would not work. So I had to use my initial serial, and then change it. It was so weird. It just wouldn't run. I don't know.
That's weird because when we registered, when we initially got it, we weren't registered, and I installed it on my PC, and I was having problems with it. So today I decided, okay, well, I'm going to install it on the Mac instead. So I downloaded the Mac version, and at this point we had our serial number, and I put the right serial number in, and so yeah, and I didn't have any issue, but the problem that I was having, which it seems to me like maybe this is half a PC thing, half an install thing, I'm not sure, is my 1, 2, 3 keys do not work.
Really?
Yeah, see, that's happened to me before. Where it'll get stuck on one, or all of them do the exact same thing. I don't know.
Yeah, mine stopped working, and so with my Mac, it happens on my Mac every now and then.
Okay, you don't use a Wacom tablet, do you? A Wacom tablet?
I don't.
Okay,
I don't, and I heard that could cause an issue.
Yeah,
no,
I had that with the a particular driver on the Wacom tablet, and it would be you'd get these sticky keys, and it would be it just wouldn't work. You'd have to just tap the 1, 2, or 3 key, and it would then work again. It's so frustrating. Hated it. But
see, it doesn't work for me at all anymore. That's the problem. And the weird thing is, as soon as I installed R19, R18's 1, 2, and 3 keys stopped working.
Jeez.
So now I don't have a functioning version of Cinema at all on my PC. Because those 1, 2, 3 keys are essential. I mean,
yeah, totally.
And I can do control, because that's the secondary option.
No,
you can do
alt.
control.
And an alt?
Or you could do alt or control, I believe. There's 10 different functions you can do. And I looked them up, and I tried doing custom hardware, doing all of that stuff. Usually rebooting my computer fixes this problem. And I look online and everybody says reset your pram, and I'm like, well, this is a PC, so everybody's like, oh, that fixed it when I reset the pram.
Yeah,
I'm like, well... So I don't know, and in fact, the first thing that comes up is something from 4 or 5 years ago when Nick Campbell was like, "Anybody having trouble with their 1, 2, 3 keys just stop working sometimes?" It's a Twitter thing that he asked, and everybody's like, "Yeah," and every solution is reset your computer, reset your hotkeys, or reset your pram, and I've done all that. So now I don't have. I guess I haven't tried reinstalling yet, but geez,
yeah,
that's probably or maybe it could be a plugin. Don't know. Could be something. You could start by taking out the plugins and seeing if it does that. So it's just a clean version of C40.
Right.
Then you wouldn't. Then
yeah. That's something else that I read. But this is a clean R19, so
yeah.
It's weird that it would affect your R18 as well.
Yeah, that makes me think. Okay, well, what else did I install recently that could have screwed up the key mappings in general? But the fact that the 1, 2, 3 key problem is something that is common in Cinema, it makes me wonder if it is related, and it's not necessarily something I did. But so that's something that I'm going to have to kind of sit there and track down and figure out now, unfortunately. But it is working well on the Mac, even on my old Mac.
That's good.
So
I haven't installed
I didn't get
it on
to
my Mac yet. I haven't. I honestly ever since I couldn't upgrade to what is it? Octane version 6.
Yeah, CUDA 8. Yeah.
Because I can't upgrade my computer anymore. I've basically not used that Mac for anything other than just rendering to ProRes.
Right.
Yeah, it's a shame.
About all it's good for.
Yeah, I got a old cheese grater that's just stuck on Lion somewhere.
Yeah.
And but it's still a pretty quick computer, I guess, as it goes. But it's just
Yeah, mine's very speedy. It's faster at doing CPU stuff than my PC is because it's got a better processor. But what are you gonna do?
One of the things, because I wasn't able to fully navigate around, so I was just kind of clicking and using the GUI buttons in order to navigate, and I was sitting at a Starbucks too, so so I had limited battery. I didn't want to get up and find an outlet, so I was just playing around with these little minor things and just looking around and stuff, and I noticed, which is really cool, that they have those highlights for things that are new.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought that was
noticed.
Yep.
Yeah, it stays highlighted until I think you use it 3 times or something.
5 times. Yeah.
5 times.
Yep.
So
really?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
So it will the first click it's gonna degrade. It's gonna sort of go slightly lighter, and then you got to do it.
That's
4 more
smart.
times. Yeah.
I love that because
I got a
sometimes
feeling
you
some
just
of mine
don't
are gonna
know.
stay yellow the whole time.
Forever.
You can just reset that again in the preferences if you want to. Yeah. You can see the R8, should be able to see the R18 new things as well. I think you can just drop that down. But it's an interesting feature because if you're, you can actually do a custom one. If you're saying to somebody, look, I only want here's how you can learn about the sculpting or something like that. And that's not actually highlighted at all, but you could actually create a thing and say, look, go into brushes and you just use this and this. And then you can save that out as a custom file. And
that's cool.
Yeah.
That would be a great supplement to tutorials for sure.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Especially if you're going to do a series on something, you could say, here's all the things we're going to do in this series. And then eventually, people could see that they've gone through and they've learned all the tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
But something that I noticed when I was in the preferences looking around is that there is a checkbox now for continuous material update. And this is one of the new features. And I don't know if people really think anything of it, but for someone like me, and I haven't tried this yet because I didn't have Octane installed in the new version at the time to test this. But when you are working on something, especially in Octane, when you're doing animated textures with image sequences in Octane, what happens is sometimes your materials and your updates get super, super slow and laggy because the materials are trying to continuously update based on what frame you're on when you have animated preview on. Even if it's not in the viewport, the little icons are trying to update, and show you what's in that Octane material for that frame. And sometimes what happens as well is, let's say you're working on something with very high resolution textures, like if you are doing displacement maps and things that have 8K textures, very high resolution textures in Octane, you'll click and there'll be this horrible lag delay when you click on a material to edit. And I think that is because when you click on it, it's reloading or making sure that high-res material is in there. So my theory, which I haven't been able to test yet, is if you turn off continuous material update, that I don't think the icons and stuff are going to be sitting there trying to reload constantly. So that could be very advantageous.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't played around with it at all.
Yeah, it's kind of, I guess if you're, it's rather than when you're just playing with the sliders, you'll be able to see the material update, right? Rather than letting go of the mouse, when you're, so it's kind of more fluid. But.
All right, what else we got?
Let's see what else we got here. I noticed, if you've installed it, you've noticed that the file size is way smaller.
I did notice that. It's like 300 meg versus 1.8 gig.
Yeah. Now that is because the initial install does not install content libraries anymore.
noticed that.
Am I right in thinking that all the content libraries are split up as well, so you can pick and choose which ones you want, which is awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. That like you can only install Prime or you can only install Broadcast or something.
Yeah. If you've got Studio, then you can access all of them. But
I've never been one to really, really dig into those and use them that often. But there's always like those 1 or 2 times you're like, oh, I need a chair for this thing real quick, and you just type chair, and you're like, perfect. That's all I needed. I don't know if it's worth the 10 gig file size or whatever it is, but the update takes a while because of that. So you got to download 10 gig worth of library content.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's good that like you can actually get up and going, pretty quickly now.
Yeah,
which is very nice.
It seems like it did, especially if you go back to like the R12, R13 days. It seemed like installation took a really long time. Poly reduction, I'm really liking poly reduction. The LOD and poly reduction, I'm going to talk about, I think, in NAB East this year. And then the thing about the camera tracking stuff is there is now the ability to go in and reconstruct your scene.
Oh gosh, that stuff.
That is cool.
I'm super excited about that. Yeah. Matthias was showing that off at DFW C4D, and that kind of blew me away. Andy, both you and I talked about motion tracking a scene and adding stuff into a scene on our NAB talks, and I think like that is like a super killer feature to me. Yeah,
and having the point cloud as well. I like that. That's really
cool. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that city that Matthias was showing off, that was pretty incredible.
Did you? Were these recorded? Did you record those presentations?
Well, about that,
you had some
I was
technical...
recording the presentations. In the middle of Matthias's, the switcher locked up, which nobody live can tell that anything's wrong. It just stays on his shot. But I lost all IP control over the network, and I restarted the router. I did everything I could do but reset the switcher mid-presentation, which means that it was no longer streaming the output to the drive. As far as I know, I mean, I could check, maybe it is there, but it said no connection. And so, we have video and audio of him, but we don't have his screen behind him recorded. Yeah. Now, you can see the screen behind him, so I don't know if it's worth posting or not, but I was watching bits and pieces while I was taking care of some stuff. It was a great presentation, and I'm really disappointed.
He's pretty articulate guy, so the stuff he was talking about would be probably pretty interesting and valuable. So,
yeah.
And the other thing too is that whenever, of course, I went to the bar to grab a drink. I usually have a drink before the show starts, so I kind of loosen up a little bit, but I did not drink until like halfway through the show, and I was like, man, I really want to just grab a beer or something. And so I go to the bar, and I'm sitting there ordering, and I hear him say something, and I couldn't tell what he said, and everybody in the room just like started like applauding, and I was like, I wish I knew what he just said. Do you remember what it was? I'll have to go back and watch.
No.
It was when he had the car up on the screen.
Oh, I don't know. I know at one point he said he was playing the music with the new sound effector and stuff like that, and we were all waiting for the bass to drop, and then he stopped it before it did. And he said, "You guys were waiting for the bass to drop, right?"
So that's cool. Our plugins, I know at least Luminous seems to be working. I haven't tried the other ones yet. Looks like so far our plugins are good. So our plugins are good. If you're curious about that, I'm going to have to update the website and just say R19 compatible. I don't know. What else is in R19 that's worth talking about?
The sound
right
effector,
now?
I think, is really cool. Like the additions to the sound effector where you can actually select individual like parts of a waveform. Like if you're only selecting the lower frequencies for like a bass kick or something, you can use that effector on your clones and stuff like that, which is pretty rad.
The interface is a lot better than the old one, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for true.
That's for true.
And also it means
That's for sure.
you can work with sound a bit easier in C4D. Even if you just don't use the sound effector, you can just bring it in quite easily now, rather than creating a special track and on a null object or something and then putting that in the timeline and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I had have
you done that? I know there's like different ways to bring in audio. So like, for example, like the way you're talking about is how I always do it. I do a null with a special track and I go into the dope sheet and I click and I add it.
Yep.
For me, it seems like it's very, very accurate. If you go frame for frame, it's going to be very accurate as opposed to putting in like a what is it, like a sound effector or whatever it is. Like it's not as accurate in my experience.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I've had mixed results with the playback of the sound effector. If you have the object selected and you're playing back in the timeline, it's kind of like really choppy, and so you have to deselect it and play it back. Because I was just trying to do an example, and putting down some markers and stuff, and I was like, that's not on the beat. That's not on the beat. So it was just weird. It was it wasn't working well for me until I went back to the old method. And so yeah, but I think I showed it off at NAB. I have a script that you can bring sound in. It's a Python script that I started writing it in 2013. I can't remember, whenever Python was in Cinema 4D, and so I started writing it at NAB with Rick Barrett, and we couldn't finish it at the show in the little time we had at the demo booth. And so then I got it working on my own after looking at the terrible documentation and some things on the internet. And then I showed it to Donovan Keith, and he just cleaned it up and made it like nice and readable. Nice. And yeah, it's something. We can chuck it on the show notes if you want. Or
I didn't realize Donovan was into the Python script.
He's amazing at amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. Pretty much all the CV tools. Well, he not all the. He has a very he has a hand in a lot of those things. So yeah. Oh yeah. Talk to Donovan, man. If you need if you've got some Python questions, I think he's.
Oh man, I always have Python questions.
So many.
I have a thing about.
Sorry, I have a buddy who I realized he was a programmer. We went to college together. We were both studying video. And so I emailed him and I was like, hey, you don't happen to do Python and Java? He's like, oh, yeah, I've been working in that for 10 years now. I'm like, oh, nice. Perfect. I need your help. And he's like, nah, I'm cool. I don't have enough time. Like,
oh,
damn. Come on, bro. Hook a brother up.
I mean, we're willing to pay.
I know. It's sometimes
for free.
I don't know. It's weird. Like sometimes, like if you go to a friend or something like that who you're asking for work for, like sometimes they just assume that you're asking for free, and it's like, dude, no, we can actually pay you.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
We're past that point now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The other thing that happens to me with sound actually is you got to make sure that you have all frames turned off whenever you play through your timeline, or else it's going to stutter.
That's interesting, because that's on by default, isn't it? So the little film strip icon in the mini timeline kind of thing, you can hold on that and then turn off all frames. And that is good to know. That was probably my issue.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing that can either be, you could use it either way, because sometimes for all frames, you want to make sure that you see everything happen,
right?
Correctly. And so what it does is it gets ahead of itself on the music because the viewport's behind, and so it backtracks the music so that it stays completely in sync. But sometimes you're like, no, I want to see the viewport choppy. I want to hear the music perfect.
That's right.
So it's about, do you want the viewport to show everything, or do you want the audio correct to hear everything correctly? So
I think that is probably. That should be a thing. If you're working with the sound effect or the new sound effect, double check that, because you might get thrown out like I did there. That was,
What else we got?
I'm going to remember that.
So let's move on to some Ravcock.
Actually,
because
hold up. Before we go into Ravcock, I should have done this at the beginning, and I'm kicking myself because I didn't. But, we got Andy on the show, and, maybe people don't know anything about you or something. Let's get to know you, Andy.
Oh.
Tell us a little bit about where you're working, what you're doing, some of the projects that you've worked on and stuff. Because we can see you on lynda.com, we can see you at your NAB talks, but kind of give us a little bit more of your background and stuff.
Okay. All right. I've been a motion designer for a long time. I think since around I finished uni 2014, so 2004. So 2004, 2005. Yeah, I know that'd be a very short time, wouldn't it?
I was gonna say, dude,
yeah.
you've gotten pretty far in a short amount of time.
I know, and you've aged terribly. And so I've been always freelance. And so, we can talk about that as well.
Is that difficult in London? Because I've heard there's not a huge freelancing population there. Most of them are actually working for studios.
I don't know. I think there's quite. I think there's quite a lot of freelancers. I believe. Yeah. It's like with anything really. You need your client base. You need a couple of solid clients to actually. Take on that freelance life, and I had I had two to begin with, and it was good because I could just bounce back and forth between them, and then gradually, a lot of word of mouth, you'd get more and more, and so if you, sorry about that plane, you might be able to hear.
No, I can't hear it.
Okay,
no,
all right, never mind. And so when I was saying. As long as you've got a core base of clients that you obviously you can't rely on that. You still need to go out and get some more. But I found that kind of carried me through. So it took.
So what are some of the projects that you've worked on and stuff like that? What's a good majority of the work that you do?
Yeah, in the beginning I used to do a lot of music videos. I've worked on quite a few Coldplay videos.
Hasn't everyone in London though?
Oh well,
It's like a rite of passage, right?
One of my favorite ones to work on, I don't know if you've heard of them, but the Fun Loving Criminals. We did I heavily involved in that one. It was really good fun, and it's called Classic Fantastic. It's kind of follows this story of them breaking out of prison with the help of this kind of very glamorous criminologist who kind of helps them break out. It's a funny kind of comic book style music video, and it's they're one. It used to be one of my favorite bands growing up, so it was kind of awesome to kind of meet them and then get this video done.
That's cool.
Yeah, so there's a band in the UK, or they were a band. I don't know if they're still going now, but they were pretty big. I think certainly for. When I was younger, they're called Take That, and music video for them as well. So, it was a fair amount of those early on, but then I guess all the budgets change and things like that. And I've worked on the X Factor USA title sequence.
Cool.
There's a shot of the old X going over Manhattan, and that was my shot. So,
nice.
That's
okay.
So there's.
I think I've seen that.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're admitting to watching the X Factor. That's really
That's what's funny is I've never really seen that show, but I swear I've seen that shot. Maybe it was on the internet.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
I really like it when I know the people who've done the artwork or the motion graphics for a show. Because I feel cool pointing it out to my wife. I'm like, hey, I know the person who did that.
Yeah.
I know that person.
Thanasis Noseman, he did the X, so yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
that guy we got to get on the show
He's
as
awesome,
well,
isn't he?
because
Yeah.
that's, I mean, any conversation with him is freaking
that'll be
amazing.
a 4-hour-long podcast.
it'll sound so good though. It'll sound.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know. I've done stuff for like Apple and Google, and a really fun like I talked about NAB, the projection mapping for the Sacramento Kings was great fun to do.
Oh yeah. And you did that work with
Quince.
what's the name? With
Quince.
Quince Imaging.
Quince. Yeah.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
Zubair. So, oh wait,
It was
did we
before-
talk about this already? Is before Zubair
Before
was there,
Zubair,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
Cool.
He's full time there
Well,
now,
good.
I think. So
Yeah.
yeah.
He moved there in order to take the job.
Oh,
He
cool.
used to be in Houston, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Left just in time.
right? No, he's still got family there though.
Yeah,
That's
he
the
does.
thing. Yeah, I hope they're all right.
Yeah, no, I think he was saying on Facebook he's got family there and he's got family in Mumbai, and like both of them are flooded.
Oh man.
Oh, that's right. I saw
Yeah.
that post. Yeah, man.
That's crazy. Anyway,
So I was going to ask you too, as far as clients, because I think people are going to ask this. As far as your clients, how do you go about getting new work? Is it mostly word of mouth? Do you network? Do you advertise? How do you do that?
It's been mostly word of mouth, and I am now. I mean, and I think as well things like going to the shows like NAB and things like that. There's definitely helped. I think with the thing with Quince as well came about because EJ was doing a job for them, and he sent me a message just saying, "I've just come out of the meeting. I can't do all the work. Can you take on some of it?" And it turned out to be this piece, and I was like, "Absolutely." So, yeah. I'll definitely do that. I love working with like American clients as well. You know, it's really good. Quite it's a different approach actually. It's kind of refreshing as well.
explain how different, like, what's the different approach in the UK versus here?
Well, you know, there's immediate trust there as well, you know. It's kind of
Is
like,
there?
well, yeah, I mean, you're trusting somebody to handle this, you know, working remotely and it's kind of, you know, if he's obviously, you know, CJ must have taken EJ's recommendation and then said, okay, well, we'll do the meeting. And then obviously that went well, and he's kind of trusted me to take on this project, which is a month-long thing, and the deadline is the deadline and all that kind of stuff. So it was, I think that was kind of like, wow, I think that's kind of cool, you know. And you don't have to, I mean, that's the case with any new client though, really. It's I think if you're working in if I was getting a new client in London or something, I'd probably expect to go in at least to sort of do a face-to-face thing, you know. But I guess face-to-face is, you know, Skype or whatever, you know. So and people maybe are more receptive to that. I don't know, because you know you got a big country there, and I guess you need to do you know. Whereas like London's pretty small. It really is.
Well, and whenever that kind of situation happens, you have to be fairly certain that the person that you are recommending is going to do a good job, and then as the person getting the job, you're like, oh man, I got to do a good job because I don't want to let down my friend who told his client, you know, oh hey, this guy's great.
The pressure builds up.
Job. No pressure.
Yeah. So, but I will be. I think a lot of, because I mean, I'm trying to kind of balance out the life a bit more now. I mean, I have we all fathers, so there's that, and and I kind of need to, you know, sort of get these, you know, less of the super late nights and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Right.
But that being said, if you're running your own business, you are putting in the additional hours. It isn't going to be a 9 to 5 ever. And that can be sometimes difficult for other halves to understand or whatever, but
yes,
you know, but I think it's really important to to do your networking, and also kind of I'm trying to do a bit of better sales and marketing kind of work, really, because I've never really had to, or I don't know. Like I've had, like I said at the beginning of this, like the core clients will kind of see me through a lot of things, and then you pick up the odd ones that. But I think it'd be useful to kind of get and foster some new relationships. So trying to get do some proper sales and marketing. Actually, I read the old freelance manifesto recently, which was quite an eye opener. I mean, I was like,
I'm a big pusher of the book.
It's a good book. Yeah. And I think there's some good advice in there, and even you don't have to be based in the USA to take that on board, and it's kind of global stuff. So definitely have a look at it if you.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that. Yeah.
All right. So now let's move on to Ravcock.
Let's go to Ravcock, because especially now since EJ has been talking about this, and EJ.
I do. Yep.
He's been getting into the external GPU.
Has he got his graphics card yet? I have some.
I have no idea.
I think he's waiting on the prices, or maybe the availability. But he's got the box.
I think
so.
Yeah, but even the box, I think, didn't he return it and did something else, or?
Oh right, I'm not sure.
Something happened.
Oh,
I don't remember.
I don't know. It's been an adventure.
Yeah, it always is. It always is. I mean, do you want to? I mean, I started on my GPU journey. I think it was because I always like learning different things anyway. So I decided to take. I haven't finished it yet. I'm really slack on that actually, but I watched the videos. There's Learn Squared, and there's a Michael Wrigley's. I love his work. It's so good. Are you familiar with Michael Wrigley's work?
I am not, no.
All right. Get familiar. He's awesome. And he does some really great motion graphics work, and he works with Ash Thorpe a lot. I guess that's how the collaboration came about to teach on Learn Squared. He does like this workflow course, and in that he was using a Mac and he was still using Octane. I was like, what are you doing? How are you doing this? And then he does go into the fact that he uses an eGPU, but he kind of uses that to kind of do his initial stuff, and then he'll kick it off to a PC render farm that he has. So I guess that's kind of what you guys do. Did you, or do you not do that
Depending.
anymore?
Depends.
Right. Okay.
Most of the time it's just all in-house, so.
I mean, no, it's the PCs are in like the next room, for him. But it's he just sort of team viewers in or whatever, and I guess
that's what we do.
Yeah. So I was like, from there I was like, right, how do you do it? So I asked him a few messages on Slack, and he pointed me in the direction of I think what he got, which was there's so many, back then there wasn't a lot going on for it, and this was
and when was this?
October last year for me.
Okay.
Yeah. And this year's gone so quickly, man. So almost a year ago, right? And I kind of so I got a Keto Thunder 2 because it's Thunderbolt 2 interface. I thought I can just plug that into my new Mac Pro 2013 one. So the trash can, as we also know it as. And it's too short. The box is too short. You can't fit a full.
So you got to take out the back of it, right?
You do, or everything unscrews, so you can just take out the card. Okay, but the other thing is so you have your Thunderbolt 2 PCIe interface.
I see. Just leave it without a box. Just kind of plug it into the card somehow, or
the power supply is not powerful enough for I had a Titan X at the time, or and then that did not work for some reason. Didn't like the eGPU. Went through so many problems with that, but I ended up on a 980 Ti, and it was like it just worked straight away, pretty much. So the process, I had to buy a PC, power supply, and then I made because you don't want two power supplies going in to you've got to power the card,
power the card,
and you've got to power the PCI board as well. So I made a barrel to Molex cable, which is pretty simple to do because you can just get a double Molex cable and then just cut the end off.
I don't think I even know what a Molex.
It's a really old connector, but it's
okay.
Yeah.
Is it like a banana connector, isn't it?
It's got just Google Molex.
Yeah, that's what I did. Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right.
That?
It's the that's not the banana. It's basically what you would see on the back of a hard drive.
Yeah.
Like an old hard drive.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. So you can buy those and then just trim off the end that you don't need. Take the wires, trim them back, and then you can put those into there's no soldering involved in my method, and there's and so you can put those into like a barrel plug, and then that works, right? So that goes into your power supply, that goes into the board, and then you've got all the cables that you normally have to go into the graphics card. Then
and here's my issue with external GPUs. Like,
you're basically building a PC.
I know, exactly. Right? So it's like especially when working in Mac and stuff like that, it's like, just give me something easy. Give me a box, let me put in a card, and let me plug it in.
Okay.
Have the
I'll
power
pay an extra couple $100 for it if that's all I have to do.
True.
Instead of,
So manufacturers are listening.
Going to Radio Shack.
They're listening to that now, and you can do that. It's pretty much open the box, put the card in, plug and play.
Because if you're talking about doing this work, I mean, it was scary enough when we were building our Monster Max when Dave was like, okay, now rip off the ground to the plug. I'm like, what? Okay, now shove a paperclip in this thing. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
I grew up with like low voltage.
In a whole bunch of electrical stuff.
But it's low voltage, and it's like, I've been doing that since I was a kid. I'm like, it's just, it's low voltage. There's a couple of volts going through here. It's not a big deal. Like,
anyway,
you're not gonna.
I'm just saying, it's like
it's gonna start on fire. No, it's not.
So. But that's then I mounted that in a PC case, like a really small, like the smallest PC case I could get, and but it's one of those Cooler Master ones, so it has loads of tiny little fans. So it's pretty quiet. It's really quiet compared to some of the newer plug and play options, because they have a big cheap fan in them, and it's like really annoyingly loud. And so anyway, I have I've got an Instagram post which shows the builds, because I decided to build another one exactly the same. Exactly the same parts, because I wanted the multi-CUDA stuff, right? The benefit of having two cards is it's a linear scale, right? So
exactly.
And so that was it, and it works very nicely. You have to disable the system integrity protection, which is a simple case of rebooting in what's the mode?
Safe mode,
recovery mode. I think if you were going to reinstall Mac OS, you'd recover in. Then you can go in the terminal and just disable the SIP and then reboot, and then you can run a script, which is a free script. It's called Automate eGPU, and it's it just, what it will do is you've rebooted, you've plugged in your card, and then you'll switch it on at the power supply, and then you'll run the script, and it'll go, okay, found your graphics card, found the NVIDIA driver, installs it, does all the bits for you, and sorts out all the kext and stuff like that, which are kind of like drivers for Mac. And so it'll do all that stuff and then say, yeah, all good, let's reboot. And so you do, and then you look in your system profiler and you've got your 1080 Ti or whatever you put in, and you've got a big smile on your face. So when I first saw the 980 turn up, I was like, right, I've done it, finally done it. Start crying. But it was it was a bit of a journey.
I've been struggling with. I struggled with it for a while because like I just had a crappy iMac, and I was like, I also have 2 MacBook Pros that one of them we use occasionally, the other one I'm not using at all. And it's like I wanted to just be able to. I wanted something to where if I go out of town, I'll be able to work in Octane, you know. Mm-hmm. But like, so I did a lot of research, and finally, like, I ended up just going the PC route because the amount of money I was going to spend on an external GPU, you know. Mm-hmm. And so I bought a Razer, and if we want to like expand, you know, and get more, they have their own specific external GPU.
Right. They have the core
plug right into it. Yeah.
They do, and I guess you get some USBs and stuff with that, which is a bonus. So,
that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's I
don't know. It sounds scary to me.
Well,
you know,
it's like, no scarier than building a PC.
You're not really like ripping apart cables and cutting them in half.
That's nothing. It's nothing, man. It's like sharpening a pencil or something. It's that easy. Oh, okay. It's so easy. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, though.
Once you know how, it's easy. Everything is, isn't it? Yeah. No, I mean, go on. What were you going to say, Dave?
I was going to say now, though, let's say that you were... Say you were going to do one now, like right today. What would you do? Would you do the same thing, or would you do something different?
Well, I did get a third one because I wanted to try out the Node. I was going to buy. I did buy it. I bought a MacBook Pro, and I broke my rule of like buying a computer before the WWDC or whenever they announced the new,
right?
And it turned up, and I was like, they're going to announce a new one, aren't they? All right, I'll just send it back. And sure enough, they did. So I was like, okay. But I was going to use Thunderbolt 3, which is the Akitio node, is Thunderbolt 3. Mm-hmm. And the fact like I've got that under my desk right now. It's actually because I've been working from home. I just thought I'll bring my Mac Pro home and have, because that's kind of like my home eGPU. Mm-hmm. The 2 in the office are there for whatever bigger stuff. But this one I just thought I'd have it at home, and I have a Mac Mini here as well, and I kind of have it hooked up to that. But I guess you lose a fair bit on Thunderbolt 1. So anyway,
so
I'm digressing.
Octane on a Mac Mini?
On a Mac Mini, yeah.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Yeah, cycles, all that kind of stuff. You can do it. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's funny, because I mean the card inside it is pretty dreadful, so you need something.
Yeah.
So I have a 1080 Ti under here, but yeah, there's so I did, like I said, I was going to try and be greedy and put 3 eGPUs on the old new Mac Pro, but it didn't like it. You've got to be careful not to overload the Thunderbolt buses. And I made a silly mistake initially by having an HDMI monitor and my Thunderbolt display and an eGPU in the same bus, and I didn't realize that the HDMI is in the same bus.
Is it?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
So you can't do that. You can't. It sees it as 3 monitors, and it's like, nope. So I would have to kind of it wouldn't work. So I'd have to turn the computer on with the monitor, the Thunderbolt monitor, disconnected, then plug it in after the chime, and then
so it's like an Apollo 13 type situation where if you don't get the right order, then
you do. You can, and that's just such a ball ache to actually just you do waste a bit of time doing that. It's kind of like, oh gosh, why do I have to check on the forums and all that kind of stuff? But there is a mode. There's a mode in the script. You put it on automatic mode and run the script again, and that means that you can take the eGPU off bus 0, which is where you'd start it on when you're doing your install, and you can put it on any other one. So that when I realized that, I can just put them onto. There's 3 buses on the new Mac Pro, and a lot of buses, and so you can just stick them in whichever ones are free, so that you kind of widen the, you're not restricting the bandwidth and all that kind of stuff. And so from that point on, it's just been turn it on, and it works. So it's like that having that kind of that made me, it kind of, something good came out of the bad thing that I couldn't get 3 GPUs working on it. So, and I know that people might have done, but they use AMD cards, and I think it's just restricted, or only 2 on the NVIDIA. But I mean, if you've got an Octane subscription, then you 2's your limit anyway.
You only do 2 anyway. Yeah.
So.
Right.
So what does the price run on one of them, on a setup, if you're building one yourself like that?
Good question. It's a lot cheaper now, I think. It was
like minus the card.
Okay,
well, with the 980, even with the cheaper 980, the 980 Ti's are so much cheaper now.
They are now, yeah. They were.
Yeah, but
without the card, I think the box, the Thunder 2 was £250. Then the power supply
I'm gonna have to do some math
let's
here.
get the calculator out. The power supply was, I think, about 50 or 60, I think. I did it all through Amazon, so I could just send it all back if it didn't work.
Right.
I was like, I got 30 days. Let's just get it working.
But this thing is burnt and looks like it was on fire. That's all right.
Yeah.
So that cost you like $450, like American dollars. And
Okay.
it's like, I mean,
Well,
the
so
Razer Core is $500. I don't know, like, so tell me.
And then the cable.
That's
About
always been the thing for me with these boxes. It's like so close to like being.
It's so close to being
worth
like,
it to just build a PC.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I've got all the parts if I were to just throw them in. At least I got the cards, I can.
That's true.
Right.
That's very true.
So it's not like. Yeah.
So have you played around with the Bison boxes at all?
No, because they are essentially an Akitio.
What you did.
Thunder 2.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Like they basically
ripped them off. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's what I
How's
think. Anyway, it looks like they've just whacked their logo on the side of one of theirs
and spray painted it black or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing about some of these Chinese companies is that you can.
Are they Chinese?
Who?
Well, the parts distributors probably are.
Oh.
You can source these things from different companies, especially if you're going through places like Alibaba, and you can say, "Hey, I need a place that will make this," and then they contact the manufacturer of the exact same box, and they say, "Yeah, we can make that for you at night with the exact same parts."
Huh.
That kind of situation. I mean, is it legal?
Morally.
Hard to say. Morally. But the thing is, like, if both companies are buying those parts from someplace in China, they don't really necessarily own those unless there's a patent involved.
Did you? I went to the Akitio stand at NAB, and it was good to kind of see they had a presence there. And I think.
Yeah, see, the Bison boxes just themselves are like $500. And it's like, from what I've heard, I haven't heard of anyone actually getting one working.
Well, didn't
I've heard of them starting on fire.
Barton had some trouble with one, did he? Or I can't remember.
Yeah. He was trying to get something to work with his Mac Pro trash can, and like he ended up like sending it back and then getting a new one and then sending that one back, and finally he's just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Not gonna work on it.
Damn it. Yeah, I mean,
it's not. And he said something too about the fact that there was like weird boot up sequences and stuff like that, and it was just like, you know what? It's stupid to have to go through all this trouble all the time. You don't want to have to be. That's why I went away from Windows in the first place. I was tired of making something work in order to use it every time I sat down.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know how they got the Bison like working, because they definitely wouldn't have been allowed to distribute. Bison wouldn't have been allowed to distribute the Automate eGPU script. I don't think they would have got a license to do that. It's under some kind of license, which is kind of be cool.
There's either
they're not making
an agreement
money
or a license, or there's like a loophole.
Right. Yeah.
That allows them to do
that. Technically, once you, I want to say once maybe they just buy them straight from Aikido or Aikido, however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Because if I think technically the copyright goes away if you can buy something, you can manipulate it however you want and then resell it for however much you want, and technically there's no copyright on it.
They look really. I mean, the first ones they did, I think that they looked really ugly anyway because they had the cables pointing out the top, and they hadn't solved any problem there. Because it was just as ugly as if I were to do it, and keep the box as it is, But there are definitely, I think there's companies like Mantis. I think they are. They're producing sort of better looking boxes, and they have Ethernet, USB kind of thing as well, geared towards your new MacBook Pros for sure. And then there's the officially supported one as well, which I think EJ got in the end.
For Apple.
Yeah.
Which one is that one?
Sonnet. Yeah. I think it's Sonnet.
But then there was something that they were talking about at Seagraph. At Seagraph, they were talking about NVIDIA or something doing a ready-to-go box or something. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but...
Okay, that would be interesting.
I just heard someone talk about it, and I was
cheaper.
I need info.
Thunderbolt 3 to eGPU PCI card expansion system.
There's two models. I think one has a more powerful... it's more powerful. Got the better power supply.
It's Thunderbolt 3.
Yeah.
That means it doesn't work with the trash can.
So you need the Apple Thunderbolt 3 to 2 adapter.
See, and this is
does that
pretty
work?
cheap. That's
because I'm using that now with the Node on this Mac.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
The Sonnet.
I'm using the Akitio Node with the Thunderbolt 3 to Thunderbolt 2 adapter.
Okay, so that does work.
Yep.
Okay.
Sonnet looks pretty cool. And you said this one actually works with Mac?
Apparently so. It will be for AMD cards. You will be plug and play. I think in High Sierra in the next version of OS 10. Whereas, I think I'm going to wait and see. I'm not going to be updating because I don't know when the NVIDIA drivers will be coming out. But they did. When they released the Titan. The new
Pascal.
They updated the Mac drivers, and that meant that everyone could get onto Sierra with no issues, and even I think 10 point the latest one anyway. So the latest version,
and possibly put a 1080 inside of their cheese grater.
That's it. It's all the 10 series cards are support, and like you say, possibly even do that, which would be pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. I think if you've got certainly one of the later cheese graters, then you could do that. Hey, Nick Campbell, you could be. He's trying.
What?
Doesn't Nick he uses he was using that cheese grater, wasn't he? So yeah.
I think he's on an iMac or something now.
Yeah, he's on a 5K.
But that's
iMac, I believe.
Going back to Michael Wrigley, he was using an iMac with the eGPU. So
See, that's what I would. That's what I would want to do.
Yeah,
the Sonnet looks pretty cool. Looking at it, it says Mac compatibility: Mac with Thunderbolt 3 ports, Mac with a Thunderbolt 2, or Thunderbolt port with an Apple Thunderbolt 3 USB-C to Thunderbolt 2 adapter.
That's it. Yeah.
Mac OS 10.12.6.
Yep, the latest.
GPU
the
card to C Techno 2. I don't know. That's
well,
gives you something to think about.
It does, and I mean the fact that they produced an interesting guide, Sonnet actually now to which I can share with you guys. It's on, but yeah, it's pretty it's a really step-by-step instruction to get you up and running. Whereas you could be on a forum not knowing what to ask. Whereas this should just help you if you're considering it. And but yeah, I mean, it's meant that I can kind of stay current, I guess, but with the OS that I like. I'm not, I think if I were to ever go to a PC, I'd have to kind of boot camp first, kind of gradually do it.
It's not as bad as it seems.
It's not.
We've
It's
gone through
like-
it. I still don't like. You know what I really don't like about Windows is the File Explorer. It
It's
is
horrible,
the biggest
isn't it?
piece of garbage.
Yeah.
It is so messy. There's so many options all over the place.
That ribbon, the
you can't
ribbon.
just. Oh god, it's just all messy. I'm just like, take away all these options. There's probably a way to custom design it,
I'm
but
sure
like the
there
Finder
is.
is so clean and so pretty and so easy. Like,
Yeah.
and you can you could take a file and you could drag it down on Mac OS to the icon of Photoshop, and it opens that file.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
If you
that
try
is
and
kind
do
of
that in Windows,
annoying.
it's like, why can't I just drag this file
You just
into?
pin the file
I
to
agree.
the dock. And it's like, I don't want to do that.
It's like all I want to do is
Then you get a
open
little
the file.
paperclip come out and going, "Hey,
Yeah.
what are you doing there? Trying to pin a
It's
file?"
because you'll double click a JPEG and it opens like in the file preview. It's like, no, I want it in Photoshop. So you got to right click, you got to go down to the thing and say open with, and then you got to find Photoshop. And you could change that to default, but you don't want to because a lot of times you just want to open a JPEG. And it's like, okay, I could just drag it down into Photoshop.
Yeah.
But no, you can't do that. So then you have to open Photoshop, and then you have to go File, Open, and you have to navigate to the directory. And another thing about it too, OS X, let's say you've got two things open, right? Let's say you've got Photoshop. I'm off on a tangent, I know it, but let's say you got Photoshop open, all right? And you go File, Open, or you're in like After Effects and you do import, right? It's gonna open up a folder, and it's the folder from like the last project you worked on, right? Because that's where it was last. Well, the thing that I love about the Finder and OS X is if you had your Finder window open and you had your folder or your file open in your Finder that you're working with, if you drag that folder or that file into the file open, it like immediately navigates to that directory. And that's when you're working with these giant projects with like, 20 subfolders or whatever. It sucks to have to go back to the root folder and click like 1,000 times to go back into where you were when you could just click and drag. And like, I think that's the number one thing for me is the file system in
You
Windows.
can copy and paste your path.
Yeah, I guess it's just, I don't know. Like if they would,
I mean,
they need to fix that.
It is annoying that like I can't just see the most recent. Like you have the drop down for recent, but mine never shows up. I don't know why it ever doesn't show up.
It's just messy. There's all these things in the top that are like, and for example, you try and go to like, you want to see details, file details, so you can see the date and extension and all of that stuff too. And it never defaults back to that. It always goes back to like icon view. I'm just like, so messy, so messy.
There'll be someone here who's like, listening diehard Windows and just going, but you just don't get it, man.
So actually, it's Merlin Mans. What's the guy's name? There's a guy. He's always that guy. He's like, so, actually, there's some guy yelling at me because there's a way to do it, and I don't know because I'm not a Windows nerd. Sorry,
dude. Like, I'm telling you. This Sonnets looks pretty good.
Looking pretty good from here.
It is looking pretty good. Like, and what it's got going for it is that it's Mac and PC. It would work with both the Mac and our Razer computers. Huh.
That's interesting.
Dave,
I mean,
think about it.
Yeah.
I think we've bought plenty of stuff recently. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I know.
There's implementation guides for getting your eGPU working on Windows as well. And if you want to just boost say you've got a fairly weak graphics card in your laptop or something, you want to boost it. Yeah, I mean that's usually that's the only reason why, right? No, I mean manufacturers are definitely paying attention to it, and I think it makes sense to, because there is a huge market there, and also
I totally agree.
Yeah, there's people that have bought the new Mac Pro, for example, and they're like, they don't want it just to sit there and die because it was expensive.
Like EJ.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, you're holding on. But I can't wait to hear how EJ is getting on, actually. I need to check in with him.
Thing is, you got to keep up with the technology, and I get it. Like, I love Mac, but eventually you got to make that decision and say, look, if I'm going to keep up with this, I got to keep up with the technology. I got to keep up with the hardware. I got to keep up with the plugins. I got to keep up with the render engines.
Says the guy who's like 3 operating systems behind.
Well, on this system, but I have PCs and I work on PCs, you know.
Crap.
I mean, you know, that's kind of doesn't really matter in that case. But like, you know, if we're talking about the latest version of Octane, or hey, we're going to try out Redshift and we're going to try using, you know, other render engines, and you know, I mean, I don't want to be so loyal to something that I'm like blind to to it, you know.
Absolutely. I think, you know, if you can't get your work done, then you got to just make sure that you make it happen, right? And at the moment, I'm still kind of, it's still working for me. So if it didn't, then I'm definitely would make the changes to you know, make it work. So
say you were going to do another external GPU, what way would you go about right now? Would you buy one of these Sonnet's box? Oh. Sorry, I must have been so deep in Sonnet's website. Pay attention.
You're like dreaming about eGPUs, just daydreaming there. Hey, if I can plug it into this.
Well, I mean,
it works with my Razor.
It's like $300. That's relatively cheap, you know.
And the good thing about you guys is you can just chuck in one of your cards and just see how it works for you.
I know.
So
see, that's what I was thinking.
It's
it's
less scary.
Like, it won't work with my, you know, I can't get the newest version of Octane on my Mac at all.
Really?
You know. No, because it's a 2009 Mac Pro instead of a 2010 Mac Pro.
Dude.
So I could spend the money and like have them upgrade the processor and stuff, but that would be an additional like $500 or $600. Well, if I want to do that, then maybe I could just buy a computer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Buy a computer and one of these external GPUs, and then I'm good to go.
Yep.
You know, then I got the external GPU that can come along with me anytime I go out of town if I want something a little bit more powerful than just the 1060 inside my Razor.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Which, I'm not sure if this isn't on the notes or anything, but I think Razer just announced a new computer. The Razer, what is it? The Razer Pro. What is their new computer? Hold on. Razer Blade Pro. And, you know, that's the 17-inch one.
Does it have freaking Windows Professional on it instead of this stupid?
That's so stupid that they don't include that.
Such a stupid thing.
I was looking at Razer's a while back when it was considering PC, but it was kind of like, yeah, you know, that should be standard. That should be on, you know.
I don't get that.
I don't get.
It's a great laptop if you're getting into it.
Yeah.
I don't get why Windows have these editions. It's just like, just make one. Make it
right. You could make it so you could, if you have a client or something you're installing it for, like a customer or a custom build, just make it an option. Just give me the dumbed down version when I install.
Yeah.
If you want that option.
Yeah. I guess if you're if you're just a typical home user, and I guess they have a huge market, a huge user base, then you won't need what's in a pro version, some kind of
you know, the Razer Blade Pro.
Those features.
Well, it allows you to disable the stupid auto updates in the Pro version.
Yeah,
That's
it's worth it for
thing.
that. It's worth paying double or whatever it is. It's ridiculously expensive.
But see, the problem with Microsoft is that their bread and butter is Windows, obviously.
Yeah.
And with OS X, with Mac, they could say, hey, we're just going to do a free OS because we don't care. We're selling hardware and phones. Yeah. Microsoft can't exactly say, okay, all our software's free now, because then they wouldn't have any way to make money.
True. Yeah.
So,
because they haven't got phones.
Yeah, they tried that. They should have learned from the Zune.
Oh, God.
You guys remember the Zune?
Yeah.
I do remember the Zune. Okay, so the new Razer Blade Pro is a 17-inch, just like the other Razer Blade Pro, but it's only got a 1080p screen instead of a 4K screen.
Oh.
Yeah, but you know, you're talking about $2,500 versus $6,000.
Yeah, but that 4K screen is delicious.
Oh, it is so delicious. Yes, it
Dude,
is.
I had like been messing with some settings the other day when we were setting up for our show. I was testing the gear, and I had set it to 1920 1080 to try and get it to work with our system, but I didn't output I. Well, I left it there. And yesterday I opened up the laptop, I was on it, I was like, why does everything look kind of crappy? I'm like, oh, this isn't in 4K anymore. Like, I realized that, like, HD isn't good enough for me anymore.
Yeah.
I know, I just hooked up the, I finally took the 21.9 monitor out of the box, and it's, 4K or whatever. Gosh, everything is so crisp.
Aren't you glad that we didn't get, like, the lower version of that with, like, the 1080? Dude, it's so crisp.
Yeah, I mean... It's still more screen real estate. That's really what matters to me.
I love that.
I don't know. I hold on to monitors for a long time. Still have those. 23-inch cinema displays.
Plasma.
Yeah, the cinema displays have lasted so long. Yeah. Mine is. Yeah, one of them. Somebody walked over and they were like, "Is your monitor yellow?" And I was like, "It's not." Oh yeah, it is.
And then you'll open up like a laptop and set it next to it, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, that's yellow."
Yeah, that isn't.
You don't notice.
That's not night shift running on.
It's basically. Look, they were way ahead of their time. They had night shift
built in.
Permanent night shift. And they burn in.
They do
burn in, right?
It's burning. Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
You accidentally, for some reason, the screensaver doesn't kick in or it doesn't go to sleep, and you come the next day and sit down and like your notes or your
find a window, whatever,
are like burned into your screen.
Yeah. I've got another one that's kind of on another machine that just doesn't. It's probably got more life in it, so I might just do a little rotation. Save it.
Well, that's the other thing about it too, man, is that I had originally this 23, and then I'm on Craigslist, and I'm like, man, $100 for another one of these? Heck yeah, I'm on board. And then like I was like, man, these things are gonna die someday. I should get a spare. So I buy the spare, and I'm like, I could just look this up as a third monitor. And so now I have 3 of them, and it gets worse. And then I'm like, oh, well, I need a monitor for my security system, but that could also be a 4th monitor.
Oh, my God.
So then I had a Samsung. And then I'm like, oh, I need a 4K monitor for doing video and color correction. And then I end up with a 55-inch 4K display on the wall.
You just got a wall of monitors.
Dangerous.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's
ridiculous.
And then I have this, the 21.9. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... Now I've got 9 monitors in this room right now.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I have 5. Unless you count the one on the floor that's not being used. Then I have 6.
You got to count them all.
Okay.
All the monitors. Buy all of the monitors.
I hooked up the 21.9 today, and I was looking at it. So I've got a Samsung, an LG, and then my iMac, and it's all different. And I was telling my wife, I said, oh, these are all different. I don't know if I can do this, because I did have 2 Samsungs and the iMac, so they kind of matched. And she's like, well, why don't you just buy 2 more of the big ones? It's like, that's
you said
why
it. I didn't.
You. That's why I love you.
Oh, man. 3 21.9 monitors?
Dude.
Woo.
Yeah.
It's like having 6 23-inch displays. Wow.
Man, this is going to be a really long show.
All right. Well, let's get into a few other things here. Number one, and we're not going to talk about this too long, but I just wanted to mention there was an article that came out right after last week's show about the render token stuff with Otoy. And now Jules was on the show like the day before that article came out, and we've talked to them, and I think next week's show he's going to come on and actually talk about that.
Not next week's show. It'll be the week after. Like next week we're having David Brodeur on.
That's right.
So we will have David Brodeur on talking stuff, and then we're recording early. Right now it's slated that he's going to come on and talk a little bit more about the render token stuff. So I was sending them an email being like, ooh, this is interesting. Is there any sort of press release or anything that I can talk about? And they're like, well, let's have him back on the show. I said, all right, cool. I'm down with that. Which a lot of positive response about that show. We've had a lot of people saying some good things, and we were really, really excited that we were able to get him on. and clear up a bunch of stuff. I feel like people are, whatever. Anyway.
Well, there's a lot of stuff too about this whole blockchain driven thing that like I would love to be able to talk to him when he's on and say, okay, let's start from the beginning. Let's talk about the sheer technology behind this, because there's a lot of people who know what like Bitcoin is, for example, and they know a lot of the science behind it, or the math, or the technology behind it. I would like for us hopefully to start kind of at the low level and say, okay, let's explain what this is and how it works initially, and let's talk about how, because in a nutshell what it is you're going to be able to let other people use your cards for rendering in exchange for credits for your own rendering, which is a great idea.
It is an excellent idea.
But there's lots of questions like, what does it do to the life of your card and your electricity bill and all that kind of stuff, and then how does it work, and is it secure? Like, can people see? Which I'm sure it's completely encrypted, but I think questions like that arise.
Built off the Ethereum, something like that, blockchain, which from what I understand, that one is actually very big, as it is. I don't know much about blockchains and stuff.
No, I don't. But I know people I think they've used eGPUs for mining Bitcoins and things like that.
Of course.
So, yeah. I don't know how much you'd earn in a day compared to like how much it costs to run, but
who were we talking to the other day? There was someone who was saying, I think it was Liam, who was saying he mines Bitcoins and makes like $100 a day.
Oh.
It's like,
oh really?
That's a fair amount of money just for, running your
How long do you have to run
GPUs?
A day? Like, is it a full?
I have no idea.
I wonder how many hours that has to be.
Might be worth it.
There's some luck involved in it too. You don't necessarily always hit, I think. I'm not very well versed in it. I do know that I had heard of and knew what Bitcoin was a really long time ago, and I really considered doing it, and dang it, I should have done it.
You're kicking yourself because you didn't.
Damn it.
Yeah. I mean, what did it go from, like $5,000 to $6,000 in the last week?
Yeah.
Or something insane like that.
Kind of ridiculous.
It's just like, ugh.
Wow.
Which is a shame because I remember when it was $1,000.
See, I heard it's just better to invest in companies that do the mining than to do it yourself. Like, there's a place in Iceland because they don't have to worry about cooling as much, and they have these huge farms, and all you do is just invest in that farm, and everybody gets a piece of the action, essentially. It's a lot easier doing it yourself. So, but that kind of technology, I remember years ago, I learned about it because I listened to Security Now podcast, which he really got into detail on how that works. So, as far as encryption and tokens and keys and private keys and things like that, I have a really basic understanding of that, but hopefully when we go into this, we're going to talk about it from the ground up and say, okay, tell the person who doesn't know anything about this how it works, so that we can get a clear understanding of it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's very interesting, for sure.
And speaking of not understanding things, Raphael Rao he posted this thing about research about how to handle refractions of boundary conditions on renders that do not support nested dielectrics. You know what I'm saying?
I understand some of those words.
But he posted it, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. I should probably know what this is. And so I'm going to post a link. If you're in the Facebook group, you've either seen it or, you'll have access to it. I'll post a link and you can see it. Like, I would like to learn what this is, what it means. When it comes down to stuff that Raphael does, like, it's so incredibly geeky and technical. I'm like, I could probably understand this if I'd actually discipline myself enough to sit down and read about it. And it would probably help my renders, and it would probably help my techniques for getting better looking renders and faster renders and more accurate renders, but I'm lazy.
Right.
He does know his stuff. He was speaking at it was C4D Advanced Production Techniques 2, I believe. It was in Berlin, and he was showing this render of like some pens, in a like you'd stick on your jar on the table or something, and it was like, that's it was like, that's a photo, right? It's so good. Every material was just perfect, and all the lighting and his attention to detail is incredible. So but
he's very into still life stuff,
right? Yeah, like like what you do at like art class or something, there's the way, I'm sure I've seen that, like a way of, it was like some fruit or something, and is it all lit up nicely? Yeah.
So in our other segment, quickly we'll go through this because we do have some good email to get to here before we go. I just want to say that Raid Zero did a nice little Get Swifty video that he posted. Which, so Get Swifty is the modern equivalent of the Bartman, I think, nowadays. And so
I love that. Do the Bart.
So check that out. I'll post a link to that. And then I thought this was interesting because we've talked about this before on the show about how bad some of these like 240 hertz televisions look.
Yes.
And it looks like awful and looks like a play. And there's an article that says the Duffer Brothers want you to fix your TV settings before watching Stranger Things season 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a whole article about how people, it'll go into someone's house and it's like, oh my gosh, that looks terrible. And the person's like, I don't see anything wrong with it. It's like,
dude,
why are TV companies making them look like crap by default?
Well, here's okay, yeah. By
Sports,
default, no, you're right. I will say when playing video games or sports, especially video games and sports, it's fun to watch them in 120 hertz. Like, things I think actually look better. So like, I get that. But yeah, it shouldn't be the default. I walked upstairs the other day. My parents were here and they were watching something, and I was pissed because I was like, why is it set back to 120 hertz? I already changed this. And my dad goes,
my
settings? Your mom likes it this way. I'm like, oh.
She likes it looking like garbage.
There's Prolost, Stu Mashevitz. I think I've pronounced his surname right. Stu Mashevitz. So he's Prolost. He had an article years ago on this, and it's like, and when I bought my the TV I've got now, which was a few years ago, I just read that and I was like, right. He is right. They are.
Well,
it
it's
does
not only
suck.
that. It's the fact that when you get these TVs, they all call it something else. And so, like in this article, he's talking about if it's called motion something or smooth anything. Some TVs, like, it's almost impossible to figure out how to turn it off because you're like, is it called cinema mode?
Is it true view?
Smooth motion? True view. Like, there's names for it, and you're like, the old TVs at least said hertz rate. It's that's so easy. It's like the non-sucky kind. Give us a suck button on the remote control.
Like a volume slider going less, suck less. Suck more,
less,
no less,
all the way down.
Actually, speaking of TVs, now here's something that I will say that I love about current technology, because I bought like a 4K Vizio TV a long time ago, so I turned it on yesterday, and there was an update to the system, which now allowed me to stream like Hulu and Netflix and all this other stuff, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Smart
like
TV.
It had a built-in Chromecast to it originally, but now like I can actually use the apps within the TV and don't need to actually stream it. So I don't know, it's like so cool that we're now at a point where TVs aren't just like TVs like they were back in the day, like the tube TVs. You can actually get over-the-air software updates and like be able to but
you want to put that on
new features.
Not auto update, because the worst is like, oh, I want to watch this thing, and you turn on your TV and it's like 30-minute update until you can watch.
Especially with your internet connection, Matt.
Right?
What?
Especially with your internet connection.
Yeah.
Like we can't watch TV today.
I just can't get Wi-Fi right now. No, I've actually ended up switching everything over to the good internet stream because I don't know if I mentioned I bought a whole bunch of these like Wi-Fi extenders,
Yeah.
And it works. It works great with the other Wi-Fi stream. It just doesn't work well with mine. Of course, come to find out, I can't even get regular Wi-Fi working on my my router. But so I've switched everything over to my parents' Wi-Fi that they pay for, except for my business stuff. Then it's all just hardwired in.
Nice.
So anyway,
so before we move on to emails, though, I do want to say one thing.
Oh boy,
it's time for Beeple's People.
Oh god.
oh god.
So we're gonna do 3 of them today.
Right.
If you're following it along at home, we are looking at Beeple September 2nd, year of our Lord 2017.
You got it.
We're looking at this one called
What day is this again?
September 2nd.
Okay.
And
I recommend, if you're following along, go to beeple.tumblr.com.
Yeah, but that doesn't always have all of them. I always use Twitter.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, David had problems with that last time.
Yeah, David
What
does
about his
always do.
actual website?
Yeah.
People crap.
I don't.
Okay.
I have a hard enough time finding it on the website. What's this one called?
This is Michelangelo, September 2nd.
Okay, I really did like this one.
Now, here's the thing. You always see the influence depending on where Beeple is in the world at the time. We talked about it last week. Now, right now, he's in Rome, and so, therefore, Michelangelo. You know?
When in Rome, do like the Romans do, right?
Exactly.
Ooh.
So there's kind of like this. There's definitely some Roman influence going on here, as you can see.
The steeples and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that what you're
is
referring
that
to?
Roman?
I heard?
Yeah, and
I don't know.
and he wrote afterwards, and it didn't actually say what it's referring to, but I'm assuming that this is what it is. He wrote a tweet after that said, "Crazy to think that he did all this crap before we even had GPU rendering."
Michelangelo. I'm assuming he's talking about Michelangelo. He's continuing the castle theme that we've seen in several of his previous works.
Yes, Beeple's Steeple.
Right. You put this one on People's People just so you could make that joke, didn't you?
Actually, no, I just came up with that because I barely looked at these beforehand. So, again, it's got the kind of grainy post-processing look that, gosh, I really want to ask him about next time he's on the show. The gradient, the scratches, the look. Like, how do you do that look? You've got your terrain. So it looks to me like he the main thing he was working on here is building the steeples.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to tie this into our continuing narrative, what do we
Let's
got?
hear what the narrative is. Oh,
you want to hear my
I don't
theory?
know. Maybe this is a I don't know. He's got that religious stuff that he's been doing with the monks and stuff, like offset gold cube. I don't know. Maybe this is one of the worshiping houses where those monk guild worshippers.
This looks like a continuation of August 29th as well.
August 29th.
Black
Oh,
truffle.
August 29th. What's the name on that
Black
one?
truffle.
Oh, yes, black truffle. Now, here's the thing as well. We've been talking about the fact that the terraforming is going on Mars at this point.
Right.
So in this particular one, you see that, you still have some of that red sky, but you also see some blue. So maybe this is a transitional phase. Maybe SpaceX, maybe people are going to be able to take off their helmets pretty soon. Start breathing in that sweet, sweet Mars air.
Well, is it Mars? Yeah, it's Mars, right?
Yeah, it's Mars.
SpaceX,
It's definitely Mars. Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
I really like the depth in it, though. The way.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's very pretty.
Yeah.
I like that he actually got the environment fog,
Well,
correct.
that's it, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
The other
That's
thing,
difficult.
my
to
favorite of his recent ones has been Florence. Actually, I think that's really cool.
oh yeah,
Yeah, that's definitely a departure from the rest of his work that he's been doing lately.
Yeah.
It's pretty though.
and there's. Oh, by the way, we do have to mention EJ's idea, the Beeple ties. I have a different daily render of his on. He tweeted that out the other day. a different tie for every day of your life.
Yeah.
Here's a couple things I wanted to mention here. Number one is, if you're following along at home, September 1st, Color Civilize. Now, there's something interesting about this, which is you've got this wall of the same gradient that we saw in the one we just talked about in Michelangelo. You've got the blue and the orange, but you've also got the like what look like the ruins, speaking of Rome.
Well, okay, so compare this one. Compare Color Civilize to the one we looked at last week, Vienna. Vienna has the big gradient square behind it, as does Color Civilize. Maybe Color Civilize is the aftermath of some sort of war or something. The kid picking his foot thing.
Yeah, but I think the thing about Color Civilize is that looks a lot like Beeple himself. And you remember he was talking about having that 3D model of himself made. So the only problem is he's not wearing khakis. So
That's
it might
true.
Not be him.
I was gonna say
it's
not him because I've never seen him wear jeans.
Yes. So, but it could be him looking at the ruins. But then, again, you've got that square of color.
Right.
And there's some meaning in this square of color because it shows up a lot.
There's hope.
Right. And he's checking out the square of color saying, what does this mean? And thinking to himself, I don't know.
And if you go to August 31st, if you're following along at home,
Rome.
This is called Rome.
That's nice.
Now, interestingly enough, you've got a person worshiping something gold, as in the last one. But then if you look in the background, it's almost like the Colosseum.
And it's almost like it's underwater.
It does kind of look like it's underwater as well.
I don't actually see that one.
31st.
Name.
The 31st. That's why I'm saying Twitter's the best at this for some reason.
I followed your advice.
I guess he didn't upload the 31st.
They just
skipped a day.
Not on
he just skipped a day.
Yeah,
no, right.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. It's ruined.
That's it. We're not doing People's People anymore.
Damn it.
Nope. Wrong.
Wrong.
Right. So this guy is worshiping this horse and it's falling apart, and
well,
it's gold.
It's gold, yeah.
So
false.
It's just kind of like the cube.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're talking horses and gold horses. I got to see this.
They've got some Voronoi fracture on this.
That's true. This could be an R19 thing.
Oh,
Rome trying out that
that's
fracture.
Pretty.
Yeah.
No. I remember seeing this the other day and thinking, oh boy, this is going to be on People's People.
It's kind of like
this is, so we were talking about the gold cube last week is being blocked by whatever they are worshiping. This is what they're worshiping.
And so this is the Ferrari. It's the prancing horse, you see. And so they are.
Do you think maybe the horse was inside the cube the whole time?
It was in you the whole time. You had it in you the whole time.
But I really like what he did with the particles going up. That's probably, post, of course. But it's got some good, whatchamacallits, the circles, the
bokeh?
The bokeh going on. And then the floor. I don't know if the floor is the same as the other floor that we saw a couple weeks ago. Let's see here. That was a while back, wasn't it? A few episodes ago.
That was last episode.
Why can't I? Oh, was that last episode?
Yeah, offset gold cube is what he called it.
Okay, see, the floor does look.
Oh, it's the same.
Similar.
Yeah, it's the same floor.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
Telling you, man.
There's definitely something going on there. But I didn't want to go over this one, but I still wanted to mention August 30th, 1496 Turbo is actually really, really cool. I like this look.
Yeah.
Didn't want to get into a story or anything, but the lines, the
well, that's the place of worship. That's where they're worshiping.
Oh, I see.
Because if you look at Rome, you see all the crazy like doors, rooms. It looks like that would be very similar to that.
See, Rome wasn't built in a day, but Beeple's Rome was.
Gosh. Oh. Where's the dinger? There you go.
Gotcha. Anyway, There were some really good ones this week. The one, Florence was just great. It's very, it's not. I mean, it's very Lego-ish to me for some reason. Just the color and the look, even though it doesn't look like Legos. It's just, I love that. Yeah. So, anyway,
all right, cool.
We should move on to some of these emails because this is going to actually take a second. We got some really good feedback and questions. Number one from Chris Cubbin or Cuban.
Cubbin? Looks like Cubbin.
Jules, my man. Wicked podcast this week, chaps. Getting Jules Urbach on was a real coup. I have to say, it was good to hear what the Octane roadmap is from the man himself. Updates seem to be coming quicker, and piece by piece, it's filling the production holes exposed by Arnold, Redshift, etc. OSL and quicker load times can't come soon enough. I'm glad I didn't jump to Redshift. The unbiased future is bright. Keep it up, bros. Loving your work. I'm still not saying that I'm not using Redshift.
Yeah.
We've been using it and playing with it and doing all sorts of stuff. I think there's definitely a place for having different render engines, not necessarily one, but but it's true. It does seem like this stuff is starting to go faster. I think that there is a lot more production stuff that we would like to talk about, especially in Chad Ashley's opinion. I think he wants us to ask some more questions, and we really want to actually get some great Octane questions from him because I know that he's got tons of stuff. We should get him on the show with us.
I said, "Hey, we're going to have Jules on the show. Is there any questions?" He's like, "Nah, I don't have any questions." And then after he listens to the show, he's like, "Oh, come on! What did you ask about this and this?" I'm like, "Oh, come on, Chad."
We don't want to scare him off and just barrage him and say,
I don't know. I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I think as we hang out more, we become more familiar, we'll be able to talk about more of these things in depth. And I feel like they're listening, and we'll be able to maybe address one thing at a time, and the community is going to be better for it as a whole. So
I'll agree with that.
I would love to have Chad come on to one of the shows he's on and talk about it. Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it. Then we have got Matt Spaeth. From nimble9.com. What's up, bros? Have a question about your new UW displays.
Ultra wide.
Oh, yes. I was looking into these earlier this year and was having trouble finding models that had sufficient color accuracy for professional graphics work. Which model did you get, and did you calibrate them? Number one, we've had multiple people
What's calibration?
About the
That was a joke.
I know. Anastasia B actually asked about it. I think a lot of people are looking to get into these wide monitors, these ultra wide displays. We got the LG
something.
The 34U M
ultra wide QHD.
34UM88C.
3440 by 1440. So it's nice. It's really pretty. I like it a lot.
Calibration wise, I have not used it as much yet to even get to that point.
It comes with a disc that I think you can use to calibrate it, and I will tell you, up against my Samsung monitors that I always love, I'm now noticing a little bit of yellowing on my Samsung monitors. Sucks.
Right. I mean, you can calibrate it as much as you can calibrate most monitors. It's not like it is not necessarily like one of those like crazy like super Sony Trinitron perfectly color accurate monitors, if that's what you're asking. But in what we're doing, and some people will not agree. Yeah, some people will not agree with me with this, but if you're close, most of the time that's fine because everybody's going to view the stupid video on a freaking iPhone anyway.
Yeah.
And I hate to be like that, but
uncalibrated monitor, you know.
I understand the importance of calibration. Don't get me wrong. I completely understand. But if I can get anywhere in the general area, it's probably fine. I'm not doing color correction on it. If I was, I would have a more color accurate monitor. So there's that. but that's the model. It is a fantastic monitor. The colors are really great on it, and you do have control. I'm not sure if it's the kind of control that you're specifically looking for, I guess is the answer. Right. I don't know how color accurate you're looking for. I don't know if you're like a colorist. If you're a colorist, maybe not. But again, most colorists have like a completely dedicated separate monitor for that reason.
Yeah.
So, I said, thanks and hoping to make it to Colorado C4D when you come to Denver in October. Haven't made it to one yet, but figure this would be a good first. Let's see. Pedro Oliveira.
Yeah, sure.
Olive.
We'll go with that.
Oliveira. Gosh.
Oliveira. Yeah.
Why are everybody's names so hard? What's the deal with that? What's up with that?
Why can't we get more Tom Smiths?
When I was your age.
Anyway,
we had 3-letter names. All right. This could be a nice topic idea. Recently, I've been working on a VFX project where the client keeps coming back asking for the renders to be more real. How do you navigate such a situation where there wasn't a VFX supervisor on set and you're lacking assets like
assets
like proper HDRIs, camera info, etc. Plus the textures for the models are straight up crappy. We didn't use that word. Maybe you could also go over some tips and tricks on generating more realism in Octane.
Octane does a pretty good job of creating its own realism. I would definitely say use as much as you can as far as like bump maps, normal maps, your blurry reflections, add as much detail in it as you possibly can.
Even in like
create more realism,
straight up textures, like you'll never have in real life. You're never going to have any sort of texture that's perfect. There's either going to be imperfections in the model or the surface. There's going to be imperfections in the painting or the, like even on, if I'm doing a straight up, let's say red color, glossy red color, I'll go into the color channel and I'll do a multiply of some sort of wide, broad range turbulent noise that does these very, very subtle changes, like especially a wall. Like if you're doing a wall in an architectural rendering, that's going to be there's never going to be a wall that's like a perfect color. The paint's going to be uneven. There's going to be things like that. A lot of people, honestly, I'll just say that a lot of people in VFX are going to say, go to Arnold and don't use Octane for your VFX. That's probably not your option. It's probably not something you want to do. I get that. So you're going to do this in Octane. There are a lot of people in VFX who they use Arnold for that reason. But there's a lot of other things you can do. Like Matt said, it is difficult to not have your proper HDRIs, especially when it comes to reflections. Now, when it comes to lighting, I think it's a little more forgiving. You could get something that's very similar. Like if it's an outdoor scene, like if you don't have the exact same HDRI from that outdoor scene, it's not going to be the end of the world. You can find something close. The reflections, yes, are going to be different. And that's something you just got to tell your client. If you're setting this up and you're doing VFX and you're not going to be on site, this is kind of like too late at this point, but you're going to be telling them, hey, I've got to be able to have someone on site to do this, this, and this, or it's not going to be super accurate. You're probably beyond that point, but you can still tell them, hey, well, we didn't have an HDRI, we didn't have this thing, we didn't have that thing. Now, I don't know. I'm not looking at your render either. I don't know what they're saying by more real. I would ask them that question and say, okay, what is not real about this?
Yeah, well,
because that could be
what does more real mean to you?
Right.
Yeah.
Does that mean the texture? Does that mean the reflections? Does that mean the lighting? Because maybe it isn't something that was dependent on having a VFX supervisor there. Maybe that person is saying this and all they think is that is too saturated. For all we know.
Yeah.
That's it.
You have to get some details back from oh, well, because in real life, it's really not that saturated. Oh, well, that's easy.
Great.
Desatch, done.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem is sometimes you're dealing with clients who actually don't know. Like, that's my least favorite thing that people do is, this doesn't look that real. I don't know why. It just doesn't.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, because it's not, and you've been staring at it for 2 hours.
Right. That happened a lot when you worked at that architectural place.
Yeah, I hate that place.
And, it was like a salesperson coming back and saying, well, it doesn't look real enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's because we converted V-Ray textures to Octane straight out the box, and we didn't spend the 5 hours that it took,
Right, because you need this in an hour.
Right.
Anyway.
There are so many questions. I would start really digging into the questions. What is it? Is it this object? Is this part of it good? Is the sky good? Is the lighting good? Is it the textures that are the problem? I mean, honestly, if you sent me a photo, a screen grab, if you could, of something like that, I might be able to help you with it.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
anybody for that matter who works in Octane. You might be able to get on the Facebook group and say, I'm working on this. I really have to get some more realism in this. We are talking VFX as well, so maybe there's some other things going on in here as far as compositing, as far as color. Maybe there's some pieces of stock footage or smoke or something that's in there. There's so many variables. Obviously, camera info is something that is great to have, but you can get really close to faking it on things like that. At least if you know anywhere close to what the to what kind of lens is being used, you can do that. We don't know if this is a full render, if this is mixed.
Yeah, really, you just got to get more information from the client.
Yeah. But again, on the client end of it, as far as educating them, you do have to handle that in such a way to where you can tell them, look, this is the deal. We didn't have somebody come in and do this. You didn't have a supervisor. You didn't have anything like that. And so, therefore, we don't have this information, and that's not really something I can fix. I can't go back in time and fix that. You just have to find a gentle way of telling them that, and maybe that will help in the future for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, send us some info. We'll definitely love to help with that. Says, P.S. I tried submitting the same question through your website, which gave me a submission error. I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were having an issue with that because we did get some other stuff. We have a whole bunch more emails, a whole bunch more, but what we're going to do is move that off to the next show because we have got to skedaddle.
I got to get to dinner. And there's a 6-hour time difference between us and Andy. Yeah, Andy's up at midnight right now.
That's true. And
welcome to our normal podcasting hours.
Yeah. I've got a My Little Pony that's sitting there waiting to come off the plate. So
get paid.
We'll take care of that. So.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me, guys.
Yeah,
appreciate
Andy,
you
thanks
being
for coming on.
Yeah.
Where can people find you on the interwebs?
The website is imcalledandy.com. So put the www in front of that and you're there. And I'm called Andy on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Vimeo, YouTube, I think, as well. They're pretty much everywhere. Is IMCALLEDANDY. You still got the crunchies, dude. What's that?
No, I actually went through all your crunchies in about a week and ordered a whole box of them.
Wow. Oh, my word.
Get them on the internet here now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, that was my gift to you at NAB. That was,
yes. It was excellent.
Is there anything from the States that you would like next time we see you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. Can I come back to you on that? That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Think about it. Think about it. Because we're going to end up in London one of these days.
Oh, man.
We're going to bring you something cool.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be great. I mean, there's some... Is that just vacation, or are you going to be tying it into work or something like that?
No, we're gonna do a meetup.
Yeah, we're gonna
do
a
meetup up there.
Okay.
I mean, it's not necessarily really very, very soon, but in the next year or so, we've been kicking that around. So
yeah, that one in Australia.
Yeah, Node.
Yeah, yeah,
Node. Yeah,
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, well, have a great time at the NAB East, and good luck with your presentations.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to rate us on iTunes, please do, because that really helps. I don't know if we have any new reviews. Are you looking that up, Matt?
We don't have any. But I think I've been talking to Sage, and we're going to give away, I think, I could be wrong on this, but we're going to give away a new Blasters of the Universe VR game. We're going to run a review contest. So give us a review on iTunes, and we'll pick a random number, and a random person will get this awesome new Blasters VR game.
You got one more thing?
Yeah, I'm so silly. I should be selling my stuff more, but I don't think about it like that.
Yeah, you should be.
You know, check out lynda.com or LinkedIn Learning and search for my courses on there, because hopefully there's something there. There's X Particles, there's Cinema 4D stuff, After Effects, Nuke, all kinds of things on there. But not only that, it's a pretty good training resource because, EJ's got some great courses on there too. And there's some really good stuff. I've seen some really interesting Houdini stuff on there as well. So they're definitely branching out and looking after MoGraph artists. And proud to be a part of that. And we got some R19 stuff coming out real soon. So
sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see. Oh, yes. Subscribe to us on iTunes if you're not already a subscriber of the podcast, and you can subscribe to our newsletter on our site. You can say that you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt with the No Brograph, No MoGraph tee, limited edition Gate D. Simone t-shirt, and the Paul Babb Feel the Bad 2020 shirt, which all profits from that are going to Doctors Without Borders. I don't know what we're going to do once we hit 2020. We're going to have to redo the shirt. But we got a little time on that. So we're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube, brograph.com. And that's about it, yo.
Cool. Let's get out of here. I'm going to go get some barbecue.
Nice.
Wish you would.
All right, cool.
All right. Until next week, I'm Dave.
I'm Matt.
I'm Andy. Thanks a lot, guys.
Have a good one.
Later, bros.
It's pretty good, I guess. Brograph.com, an online resource for learning critical components of Cinema 4D and After Effects, specifically catered to help you prevail as a motion graphic designer.
What's up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph motion graphics tutorial.
We give you professional time-saving tips, shortcuts, and lessons that help give you an edge over your fellow designers. Not only this, but our new Brograph Talks help you in your file management, hardware configuration, and client relations.
I love projects that scare me. When our art director comes to us and asks for something that I had never done before, man, it gets me pumped.
Join us for live sessions, check out our crazy Cinema 4D experiments, or just watch our Fun with Brograph series, where we show you practical applications for techniques learned in previous tutorials. Do this from the beginning, and your client is going to respect that, and they're going to respect you, and they're going to respect your time. Subscribe today and get automatic updates on the latest tutorials, tricks, tips, and inspiration brought to you by industry professionals Dave Koss and Matt Milstead, all with a slight dash of dry humor peppered in. Real nice banana.
Brograph.com, your source for tutorials that will help you thrive in the motion graphics industry. Don't just play around with Cinema 4D and After Effects, master it, and make money by becoming indispensable at your workplace.
We don't care how you get here, folks. Just get here. Subscribe now to Brograph Tutorials. It's pretty good, I guess.